Good evening and welcome to the November 3rd, 2022 regular meeting of the Board of Education. In regards to in-person meeting, NUSD has opened its boardroom for in-person meeting and will follow the state's and Alameda County's safety guidelines for public gatherings. Please refrain from attending in-person meetings if you have any COVID-related symptoms. Members of the public may observe the meeting via the NUSD YouTube channel, live transmission on Comcast Channel 26, or in person at the NUSD boardroom. Spanish translation will be available via Zoom. In regards to public comment, the public will have the opportunity to address the Board of Education regarding non-agendized matters and agendized items with a live audio-only comment via Zoom with the advance notice requested by email at publiccomment@newarkunified.org, a written comment by submitting a speaking card via email at publiccomment@newarkunified.org, or live in-person comments by submitting a speaker card with our executive assistant, Ms. Gutierrez. With that, I'd like to call the meeting to order at 6:01. Roll call, please.
Board Member Hill.
Here.
Vice President Grindal.
Here.
President Nguyen.
Here.
And Member Zhang Zeppin.
Thank you. Okay, on to item 2.1, approval of the agenda. I know that we have one item that the superintendent would like to pull tonight. Dr. Triplett.
That's correct. Thank you, President Nguyen. We would like to pull 3.6, please.
Okay, thank you. So may I get approval of the agenda, a motion to approve agenda item minus 3.6.
Was that your motion already, or?
Oh, may I get a?
So moved.
Thank you. Motion made by Member Grindal. May I get a second?
I second.
Second by Member Hill. Please vote via board docs. Thank you.
All 3 yeas.
Thank you, Ms. Gutierrez. Okay, on to closed session. In closed session, are there any public comments in closed session? Thank you. In closed session, we will be discussing item 3.2, public employee discipline dismissal release. 3.3, conference with labor negotiators, NTA and CSCA. Item 3.4, conference with labor negotiators, NUMA, unrepresented supervisors and contracted management. 3.5, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation. And now we will recess to closed session. Thank you. for attending tonight, and welcome to our board meeting. We just got out of closed session. We do not have anything to report out from closed session. Our next item is the Pledge of Allegiance. Would one of our students like to lead the Pledge of Allegiance tonight? Oh, yeah, sure. Thank you. Please rise.
Please begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Our next item is student report, item 6.1. Do we have student representatives here tonight? Ms. Gutierrez? We have one from the junior high. Thank you. Welcome.
Good evening, board members, Superintendent Triplett, Executive Cabinet, and community members. My name is Addison Wolf, 8th grade class president, and I am here to report. For the month of October, we planned our first ever dance of the school year, the Neon Dance. We sold our tickets. Then on Friday, the 28th, we held the dance. It went well, and we had a ton of fun. Along with having our first dance, we also had our first Spirit Week. The Spirit Week passed with flying colors, and we are planning more for the upcoming school year. We also did our TUPE training. With our TUPE training, we learned a ton about what vapes and smoking in general can do to you. We plan on having assemblies to teach the rest of their school about TUPE. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Addison. Have a good night. Are there any other? Thank you. On to agenda item 7, recognition and celebrations. Item 7.1, staff spotlight. Dr. Triplett?
Thank you, President Nguyen. Good evening to the board, staff, families, students, and community members. We're delighted to see everybody here this evening. So we are starting with our staff spotlight. This is an opportunity to highlight, do we want to turn? Oh, sure. We're going to pause for a minute. Good evening, Student Board Member Torres. We just did the student announcements or student updates. Would you like to? Okay, great.
I do apologize for being late. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Newark Memorial has been a very active place for the past 12 months. I would like to highlight how the high school has been working towards creating a tighter bond between the community and the school. There was a night market, a great presence in the New York Days parade, especially with the float and trunk or treat. All of these events had a great turnout from the community. With the community involved more with the schools, clubs are able to get more money, which means that students can spend less time fundraising and more time accomplishing the purpose of their club. Trunk or treat happened on Halloween, and there was booths, games, and candy for the kids from the community. It was so adorable seeing all the kids dressed up. Another event that happened recently was the food fair. A food fair is an event on campus during lunch where the clubs have a chance to sell food to the students and staff. It was a wonderful turnout with many clubs selling out of their products, and there was $3,000 raised to split among 17 clubs. October 24th was Diwali, and to celebrate that on campus, there was a workshop hosted by ASB and the South Asian Student Union, which gave students an experience to learn about and participate in celebrating Diwali, the Festival of Lights. There were stations for decorating diyos, making regolias out of chalk in front of the library, and making laddus, an Indian sweet. An exciting thing that is happening this year with ASB is our tree, wreaths, and garland fundraiser. Our activities director, Ms. Canales, sent out an email to all families today to order either trees, wreaths, or garlands for the holidays. This is a way for ASB to fundraise to help raise money for our Sadie's Dance, Multicultural Week, guest speakers, and more. You can support ASB by purchasing from us. Orders are due on the 14th and will be delivered on December 1st. We also have our 99.7 Now High School Takeover tomorrow. The radio station will be on campus to play music in the quad during lunch. Tomorrow night, 10 students will be going to the 99.7 Now radio station and going on live air from 7 to 7:30 to introduce songs. Finally, we have athletics. The fall seasons of sports is coming to an end with championships happening. With fall sports ending, there have been tryouts for the winter sports such as basketball and soccer. Yesterday, the boys cross-country team became MVAL champions with many runners getting their personal records, and we have 12 team all-leaguers. Now they will be moving on to the next round of championships. The Northern California State Championships, NCS, for the cross-country team will be taking place on November 19th at Hayward High. We also have boys with water polo moving on to the second round of NCS after beating Alameda 12-11. Football is playing for a league championship this Saturday at San Lorenzo. Our girls tennis team participated in MVALs yesterday with singles player Grace Maske and Bati Ibrahim advancing to the second round of the tournament. Also happening on Saturday is our pasta feed at Swiss Park hosted by athletics. The doors will be open from 5 to 10 p.m. and the food will be served from 6 to 7 p.m. There will be dinner, a DJ, and 50-50 raffle. Tickets are $25. If you would like to attend, please contact Coach K. This is an excellent opportunity for the community to support the athletic department at NMHS and enjoy a night with the families and friends. This is all that I have to report for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Student Board Member Torres. Back to Dr. Triplett.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Student Member Torres. Student Member Torres, are you able to see the screen, or should we move that a little bit?
I can see it a little.
Okay, thank you. All right, so this section is spotlighting some of our staff and really appreciating the amazing work that some of our staff do. And in particular, this month, we wanted to celebrate a NUMA member, an NTA member, and a CSEA member for their outstanding work and contributions to the district community. So first, we wanted to spotlight Miss Toni Stone. She is our new HR manager of classified staff. Since joining us, she has just been tremendous, jumped right into the work, comes with a wealth of experience, and brings professionalism and excellence to our HR department. So we're really grateful that she's joined the NUSD family. Please join me in giving a little appreciation for her. Next, we wanted to spotlight our NTA member, Ms. Rachel Silva. Ms. Rachel Silva is a chemistry teacher at Newark Memorial. She also stepped into the science department chairperson role this year, is doing an amazing job. Really outstanding teacher with great connections to kids. Recently, she shared with me some field trips that she's already taken the kids on this fall. Really giving them the opportunity to have experiences outside the classroom in their learning. So please join me in appreciating Ms. Silva. And then last but certainly not least, our CSEA member spotlight for this evening, Ms. Esperanza de Monge. She is a district custodian, including she supports district office. And she has recently joined the team and has just done an amazing job of making sure that our spaces are kept clean and professional. And we've been grateful that she has joined the family as well. So please join me in appreciating Esperanza. And those are our staff spotlights for this evening.
Thank you, Dr. Triplett. On to item 7.2, School Spotlight, Newark Memorial High School. Dr. Rich is here, I see. I will hand this over to Dr. Triplett.
Okay, thank you. So as you all know, every month we have one of our schools comes to do a school spotlight. It's to highlight the amazing work that's going on the behalf of all of their staff and students. And so this month we have Dr. Rich is with us, principal of Newark Memorial, and is going to share a little bit about some of the great things happening at Memorial, and I believe may have some. Do we also have some other guests, Dr. Rich?
I do, yes.
Fantastic. Okay, I'll turn it over to Dr. Rich.
Okay, thank you, and thank you, members of the board. We appreciate the opportunity to spotlight Newark Memorial High School. I'm going to begin by talking about our test results from last year. We had 55.44% of our students demonstrate proficiency in English language arts, and 24.51% of our students demonstrating proficiency by scoring either having met the standard or exceeded the standard on our math tests. This is a historical record of passage on, or of our record on the SBAC. You'll see that there's a trend there of, our trends remain fairly stable over the years. We seem to have some trouble during the 17 and 18 years, but then leveled out a little bit more, but certainly there are areas for improvement. We do some internal checking with our 9th, 10th, and 11th grade students so far as their literacy. What I want to point out about these graphs for 9th, 10th, and 11th grade is that they're fairly consistent with what we see from the state tests. For 9th and 10th grade, our scores, our internal scores show that our students score either medium or high at a rate of about 65% for freshmen and sophomores. I'll move on to the sophomore slide. And then for the junior slide, it ranges right at about 55% of our students either score high or, either medium or high. What I like about this information, this internal data, is that it's consistent with the state data. This data for the 11th graders is very consistent with the data that we saw from the SBAC last year. The encouraging information that we have out of this is that while this year it was right at 55% or very close to 55% of our students scoring either high or medium, we see an increase in our scores with our freshmen and sophomores. So I'm hoping that that's a prediction that our literacy scores will increase on the SBAC in the years to come. I'm going to go ahead and move on then. Our greatest challenge is in the area of math. So there's two things that we did this year. One is that we saw that when we were going to have 5 sections of math that were going to be taught by a long-term substitute. Working very closely with the district administration, we were able to provide a 6/5 contract for 2 of our teachers. And so we changed that trajectory from having 5 sections taught by a long-term sub to 3. 2 of our teachers went ahead and took on an extra period during their prep period. And so we were able to reduce the number of students that were being taught by a long-term substitute. For our long-term substitute in the area of math, we're providing additional support through our department chairs. And they are providing support to that long-term sub. Some cultural things that we're doing this year. First of all, we started the year off by training our staff on how to make connections with teenagers. And we recognize that there's our desired behaviors. We have a program called Very Important Cougars. And what we do with that is we recognize any student that the staff would like to recognize. So it's different than what you might see in a student of the month where we only identify one student. We identify every student that our staff would like to identify, and we recognize them for demonstrating behaviors that we would like to see. Student board member Diego Torres made mention of some of the things that we're doing right now involving trying to involve the community and so forth. We've had great success in trying to involve the community this year, and he outlined several of those items, but I'm going to go ahead and touch on them real quickly also. We had a greater presence in the parade this year. We were pretty happy about that. We had a community night market, and again, we had significant participation with our students and the community. We had a tailgate party right before homecoming, and again, significant participation with the community and the students. And just this week, we had trunk or treat. When we deal with behaviors that we don't want to see, we do respond to those. This year, so far, our discipline record has been that we've assigned 38 conferences or warnings with students. We've assigned Saturday school 35 times, and we've assigned 43 suspensions. And so what I really want to say out of this is that we do both. We try very hard to recognize the behaviors that we do want to see, and we try to create deterrence for behaviors that we don't want to see. Something else that we do, however, is during Saturday school, we go over this presentation. I'm not going to go over it long, This is a presentation from our counseling department. And this is one of the slides that we go over with our students who go to Saturday school. We talk to them about graduation and what the requirements for graduation are. The students get this when they're freshmen, but when they get it in Saturday school, we go over it and over with them so that they thoroughly understand what this is all about. What we do believe is that many of our students who misbehave, they don't understand the long-term consequences to their misbehavior. And so we want to make sure that they understand those long-term consequences. And so we want to make sure they understand what they need to do in order to graduate from high school. And so we go through this during Saturday school. And finally, and this is the presentation, one other item about this slide presentation right here. This is actually the presentation by our counselors that they go over with our freshmen. And what I really appreciate about this is our counselors and our administration are working very close, hand in hand, so that the students who are in Saturday school hear this message. But it's not just the message that the administration has come up with. It's cooperation between the administration and the counselors. And so the same message that our counselors are sharing with our students, our administration is sharing with our students when they're in Saturday school. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and close. I do have a video that I'd like to share about the high school, and I'll go ahead and share that right now.
Here at the Media Communications Academy, every year we hold a silent film festival. But before that, we have to go to NALS to film our silent films. This group project functions not only as a teamwork exercise, but also as a history lesson in which students can learn about NALS and its history with silent films, as well as its crown celebrity, Charlie Chaplin.
During practice, sometimes we run out like on the back trail, and other times we do speed workouts here or on the back grass, and yeah, we just like work on basic stuff. We had a race yesterday, and then we have one next week, which is week 5.
The creation of Startup?
It started when we were shut down during COVID. We did a whole year of planning, and then last year we got to work with an architect designer planning the room, and new people doing the whole audiovisual projector system and really turning it into a space like what we got here for students.
So how long did it take to build it?
We're not done yet. The whole back that's in us right now is going to become 2 more classroom spaces, kind of like this. And if you see all those boxes over there, those are things for you to work with. 3D printers, tools for rocketry and robotics clubs, and that's all still going to be set up soon, hopefully all by winter vacation.
The counselors are here to help students with any school or college-related questions. Some may be, what college am I going to, or which plan fits the best? Students are always welcome. They just have to make an appointment ahead of time and then meet with their counselors.
Wonderful closing done by the leadership team. We have Wednesday. Look at all the colleges over here. Isn't it just so beautiful? And more justice.
And so I'd like to introduce one of our main producer of that film. Her name is Annette Diego Martinez. Annette, come on forward. Would you like to say a few words about producing the video?
Yeah. Okay, so as you know, my name is Annette Diego. I'm president of the MCA Media Communications Academy. And so basically, we had like about a week to film and edit all of this. So we stayed after school and filmed all the sporting events and, you know, just all this stuff. And it was really fun editing it. So, yeah.
So we do want to recognize our Media Communications Academy. And Annette was joined with some moral support by her boyfriend, John, who's with us. John, if you want to give us a wave. Thank you, John. And that concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to entertain any questions that the board members might have.
Thank you, Dr. Rich. Student Board Member Torres, any questions or comments for Dr. Rich?
Well, I mean, I was at many of these events, and it is what the video shows. It's really fun, and it's really active campus that we have that we have at New York Memorial, and that video, it was me, yes. Highlighting the Puente poster, it was really nice. Thank you, MCA.
Yes.
Member Hill?
Thank you, Dr. Rich, for the great presentation.
Sure thing, thank you.
Member Grindel?
Thank you for the great presentation. Is the video available on YouTube? Is there a way for the community to share in that too? Because I thought it was wonderful.
We do have a link, and Lucia has it, so we can work with Lucia to get that published.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Dr. Rich. And it's wonderful to see the communication coming out of the high school this year, and also all the positive things that you guys are working on. Yes, you know, there are occasions where there is conflict and everything like that, and I think that's something that, you know, is not new to any of us who have gone through high school, right? But the mere fact that you're actively involved in student life, I really want to appreciate that. I've seen you at so many of the games, also participating and also have a daily connection with the students. I feel that's really strong, and I want to thank you for that. So thank you.
Well, sure thing, thank you.
Thank you. On to the next item, 7.3, Promotores de Salud Recognition.
Thank you, President Nguyen. So we are really delighted. You're going to notice this evening a theme around family engagement and support. And later, we have our parent partners that are going to be presenting around the amazing work that they do and the resources for our families. But first, we wanted to acknowledge an incredible partner that we have, that is the Promotoras de Salud. This is a group that is done amazing things, and I'm just going to read a little bit of the background here. So on October 27th, 2022, the City of Newark proclaimed October 2022 as Promotoras Month due to its valuable work with the community and playing an invaluable role in making the City of Newark a more welcoming place to live. Promotoras de Salud is a community group of Spanish-speaking members of our community who are trained to be advocates and to identify solutions needed within our community. In addition, Promotoras de Salud was also recognized by Supervisor Richard Valle that same night. So tonight, we want to also honor them in this special month and recognize the partnership that NUSD has with the Promotoras and all of the hard work that they have done to support our NUSD families and students. So please join me in giving them a round of applause, and if you could just stand up, that would be great. Yeah. So I'm also going to say a little bit in Spanish, and then maybe we can have the group come up. That would be great. Yeah, maybe. So maybe Eda, Veronica, and Adriana, if you could come up to the mic. Quiero decir algunas cosas en español también. Nosotros estamos tan agradecidos por el, ¿cómo se dice? Partnership. La colaboración entre Newark Unified y las promotoras. Y ustedes están dando muchísimo a la comunidad, a nuestras familias, y nosotros estamos siempre muy agradecidos. Pues tenemos algunas flores aquí para ustedes, y también quiero decir unas gracias acerca de sus logros y también acerca de este mes que ahora se llama Mes de las Promotoras. So, muchas gracias.
Thank you, board members here today, community present, but especially to our wonderful group of promotoras who are here supporting us. This really took us by surprise, and we're very honored to be here and to receive this. It's an honor for our team, but mainly for all our promotoras present here. I think it's a teamwork, it's a community, it's labor, it's, it's labor in our community, but it means so much to us. We represent the community, and the partnership we have with the school district, I think it's, obviously, we're seeing so many leaders now that are stepping up to, be part of that community. Thank you again, and I want to see if my coworkers also want to say something, but it is an honor. Thank you.
I'm going to say in Spanish. Muchas gracias a todas y a todos los promotores que hacen cambio en la comunidad. Gracias por su trabajo, enorme valor, enorme aplauso para ustedes y a continuar trabajando por esta ciudad.
And I just want to say this is for all of you, the promotoras, and everyone here present, because it really takes a community work to get the community better and to thrive a community. Thank you very much for all the support since 2015, and finally we're giving some results to the community. It's a lot of work, it's still ahead, but in collaboration with all of you and all the agencies, nonprofits around the community, everything is possible. Así que muchas gracias a todas y nada más decirles que el trabajo continúa, no termina, simplemente está empezando a dar resultados y nos queda mucho por hacer. Sí se puede. Thank you very much, and this is for all of you. Thank you.
Board members, would you, Board Member Torres, do you have any comments for our promotores?
I just want to say thank you for all the hard work you're doing, and I'd love to learn more about this program. Thank you.
Thank you. Member Hill?
Yes, thank you for all your hard work, and thank you for coming to represent.
Member Grindel?
Likewise, thank you for the very important work you're doing in our community. Like you said, it's just beginning. The work is continuing, and we're all rooting for you. We all want to help you. So, thank you. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, promotores. All of you have been working diligently and very hard in our community, and also partnering with the school district, and we're very grateful for that, and also the city of Newark. So, thank you so much for all the wonderful work that you're doing, bridging our community. Thank you. Okay, great. On to item 8.1, employee organizations. No comments from our employee organizations tonight. So on to 9.1, public comment on non-agenda items. We do have several speakers. Our first is Ms. Paula Clevenger. Welcome.
There's a reason for that. All right, hello, my name is Paula Clevenger, and I've been a teacher in Newark for the last 23 years, and I have come to many board meetings, and I've spoken several times. I wanted to start by saying thank you to Dr. Triplett, Mr. Dolowich, and Ms. Ingram Waters for coming to talk to the sixth grade teachers today. We do appreciate it when the district reaches out to help us, and sometimes it comes, sometimes it doesn't. And the sixth grade teachers are the ones that have to ask for help. In sixth grade, we have one phrase that we like to say a lot. We don't know what we don't know. Very few of the sixth grade teachers have taught in the middle school before. Just switching from trimesters to semesters was a difficult switch. Many of the things we need at NJHS require more than a teacher to solve. The district leadership needs to step in and solve some of the problems. One of the problems is getting teachers to work in Newark Unified. The schools, or the students at NJHS need teachers in the following positions. We need a sixth grade RSP teacher. We need several sixth grade ELD teachers. We have a 7th, 8th grade ELA class without a teacher, and we are down one counselor. The sixth grade teachers have received very little support since the beginning of the year, and want to be very clear that it isn't Mrs. Piowski, Ms. Kim, Ms. Avila's, heck, it's not Mrs. Penny or Miss Patricia's fault, and it certainly isn't the wonderful ladies in the office. All those women at NJHS have been working to change the system that is broken. The system that has been broken for longer than a year, but every year it gets worse. Most, if not all, the Newark teachers have taken up the slack when our classrooms go without. But there is just so much that we can do. We can't make teachers want to come and work in Newark. This year, it's been worse with subbing for one position I listed above. I hope that our meeting today will bring relief to teachers who are exhausted. Teachers should not have to sub for a position that the district couldn't fill, and that's just what we're doing. Some of the sixth grade teachers have subbed 22 times during this year, and we only are in week 13 of the school year. The reason I put that on there is our NTA mug said, "I'm an educator, what's your superpower?" The truth is that Newark teachers are not made of steel. The teachers of NJHS need some relief in the form of an RSP teacher, ELD teachers, a 7th, 8th grade ELD teacher. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Clevenger. Our next speaker is Babbage. Oh, Babbage, sorry. Thank you.
Good evening. My purpose here tonight is to speak to the school board and, more importantly, to the Newark community. I'm a teacher in NUSD, and like my colleagues who have spoken at the previous 2 school board meetings, I am disappointed, to say the least, with my district's leadership, or really lack of leadership. Did you know that this year our schools were cut to the bare bones, and yet the district office grew? At the sites, we lost our intervention teachers, and we have long-term subs teaching SDC and AP classes. This means that people that work directly with the students found that their positions no longer existed and have been replaced with non-qualified staff. It's no wonder so many students and families are choosing to go to surrounding districts that will make them a priority. But at the district office, assistants were hired and new positions were created. Why is our district office so inefficient that they are constantly hiring more staff? Did you know that our superintendent makes $45.80 per student compared to Fremont's superintendent, who makes just $9.12 per student? Our CBO makes $42.44 per student compared to Fremont's, who makes $4.35. Our HR director makes $33.47 per student compared to Fremont's, who makes $5.62 per student. And the district's executive cabinet salaries are increasing by 2% each year. After hearing how well paid our superintendent, CBO, and HR director are, it's quite obvious that they enjoy a competitive salary, but why doesn't that same ideology apply to the teachers? Clearly, it doesn't, as the teachers in Newark are the lowest paid teachers compared to our 7 surrounding school districts. This would account for the hemorrhaging of teachers to the surrounding districts. They can do the same job with better working conditions and infinitely better pay. And by the way, it's not a teaching shortage when teachers are leaving to work in other districts. NUSD is currently a district who is not putting teachers first. And when you don't put teachers first, you don't put students first. I hope the school board and the Newark community who are listening will support NCA as we negotiate for a reasonable and competitive salary, along with a benefit stipend. It's time for our district to invest in their teachers and students. Our district office can exist with fewer employees and assistants, but our district cannot exist without their teachers and students. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Our next speaker is Ms. Akil. Thank you.
Hi. To preface, I don't really have time to be speaking here tonight. I have papers to grade and report cards to finish in preparation for parent conferences, but I am here. So I would like to begin by breaking down our current level of compensation. Teacher compensation in Newark for a teacher with 12 or more years of experience, a bachelor's degree, a teaching credential, and often a master's degree will make a salary of around $90,000 per year. 90,000 divided by 186 days is $483 per day. Our contact hours with children is 6.5 hours per day, and we are often expected to teach up to 31 students in our classroom, so the hourly rate of teaching per child is $2.40. The standard babysitter rate in Newark currently per hour is $23.50. New Haven teachers make 30% more than Newark teachers do. For a teacher with 12 years experience, that is a compensation difference of $90,000 over a span of 5 years. A Newark teacher essentially loses $90,000 over 5 years by staying loyal to this district and not leaving to New Haven. The teacher is one of the most integral parts of a child's development. We do not simply teach reading and writing and math. We are the ones who they trust to take care of them. We are the ones their parents trust to educate them. We are the ones who stay up nights worrying about them and put in tremendous hours trying to figure out how to meet the needs of all of our students every day. We are there when they need a hug. We are there when they are sick. We are there when they are sad. We are the ones that worry if they do not have friends or are not able to manage emotions, which is becoming more commonplace every year. We are also the ones who tirelessly work to make distance learning a reality. We had to completely recreate the way we taught. We put in extra hours and went through extra training to move from an in-class structure to a remote learning experience, back to an in-class structure with frankly substandard communication from the district. If there are any successes from the last year, they belong to the teachers. Where will the money come from? Let's reduce the salaries at the district by 30% to match what the Newark teachers are giving up by not moving to New Haven. If for some reason you don't like that idea, we can also forego the marketing campaign and the new pool. That should save a couple $1 million. We can also eliminate spending for all the consultants, which total over $1 million. Our reserve also has 10% more than is required. If nothing else, hear this. There is not one person in the entire district office who is more vital to a child's education than their classroom teacher. We deserve to be paid for our services as professionals. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Almada. Our next speaker is Ms. Nancy Thomas. Welcome.
Good evening, President Nguyen, School Board, Dr. Triplett, staff. A critical role of the board is overseeing the development and adoption of its bylaws and policies. These written documents convey the board's expectations for actions. They clarify roles and responsibilities of the board and the superintendent, and they communicate board philosophy and positions to the students, staff, parents, and the community. The board president and the superintendent recently made changes in how these important documents are agendized and updated, changes that I believe should have been discussed with the entire board. One of the most blatant is placing policies on the consent agenda. Another is the discontinuance of markup drafts showing changes from previous policies or regulations. Your board bylaw 9310 specifies your policy development process, including number 1, the board and/or the superintendent shall identify the need for a new policy or revision. When I was a board member, I had access to the CSBA policy area that recommends updates. You should also. The superintendent shall gather data and other useful information to fully inform the board about the policy revision. How can you be fully informed if his suggested policy or regulation is on consent, especially when changes from previous versions are not marked or described? The board may hold discussion during a public board meeting to gain an understanding and provide initial direction to the superintendent. How does that happen under consent? The board or superintendent may request that legal counsel review the draft policy as appropriate. Again, requests and comments are not expected on items under consent. A draft policy for a first reading shall be presented at a public meeting. This implies a first reading under new business and a second reading under old business. That's how it was done in the past. Many of these policies are dense or contain extensive changes. You should not need to examine the draft line by line against the original. The markup drafts provided in the past show deviations from the CSBA recommended language. Again, you should be able to easily identify changes or deviations from CSBA recommendations. So please, study your bylaws, know your responsibilities, provide direction to the superintendent. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Thomas. Okay, on to public comments on agenda items. Are there any? No? Okay, with that, we will move on to consent agenda personnel items. Are there any items that our board members would like to pull? Okay, with that, may I get a motion to approve items on the consent agenda for personnel items?
I'll move approval of the consent agenda for non-personnel items.
May I get a second, please?
I second.
Thank you. Student board member does not vote on personnel items. Board members, please vote on board docs. Thank you.
3 yeas.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Gutierrez. Okay, on to agenda item 12, consent agenda non-personnel items. Are there any items on the consent agenda that our board members would like to pull? With that, may I get a motion to approve the consent agenda items? 12.2 to 12.12.
I'll move approval of the consent agenda for non-personnel items.
May I get a second, please?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Motion made by Member Grandal, seconded by Member Torres. Please vote on board docs. Student Board Member, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you.
Three yeas.
Thank you, Ms. Gutierrez. On to item 13.1, Superintendent Report. Dr. Triplett.
Thank you, President Nguyen. All right, so this is the superintendent report for today. Oh, it says October 6th. We're not on October 6th anymore, but this is the right report. First wanted to just give an update on some of the things that have been happening and that are scheduled to happen. Number one, Halloween and Dia de los Muertos were both two wonderful events that we really enjoyed here in Newark Unified. You can see on both sides of the flyer that students who dressed up, lots of great parades and ceremonies at all of our schools, as well as Dia de los Muertos activities at the memorial in the cafeteria on Friday the 28th. So it's been a really fun time. We also had a lot of staff who were dressing up as some really fun costumes. Wanted to give a shout out and a lot of excitement for our first science camp of the year, Coyote Hills Elementary. I believe they might be returning today, or maybe they returned yesterday. They went on a trip to Pescadero and the point there. You see here students discovering a banana slug for the first time. So I understand they had a really great time. One student told the principal when it was time to go, I think I should just stay here. I think I'm learning a lot better here. Maybe I should just stay. So I think they had a really nice time. It rained and it didn't slow them down at all. Wanted to give an update on the Star Academy at Memorial. So we saw a little bit about it earlier in the video. This is a picture on the left side. This is that lift is because they have been installing the AV system. They're going to have a new AV system in the lab for students and teachers to utilize, and so that's been happening this week. In addition, some of the new equipment that has been purchased for the students in the robotics and computer science classes. So this is a particular robot that students have started to work with, and you can see on the computer screen there to the right. It involves learning how to code the robot. So a lot of really cool stuff happening in the Star Academy, and we're really looking forward to the inauguration of the academy later this year, or inauguration of the lab. Sorry. Wanted to let the board and public know we had our fall assessment window for the elementary and 6th grade. This was October 11th through November 1st, so that just concluded. And next we have teacher, if you can go to the next slide, please. We have professional development coming up next week, where teachers are going to have a chance to really dive into the data from the first assessment and collaboratively work with each other to really think about what the data is telling them about the needs of their students moving forward for the rest of the year. Next slide. We also have our elementary school parent-teacher conferences coming up, the 10th, 14th, 15th, 16th, and 17th. So that'll be right before the Thanksgiving break. We have some vaccination clinics. We've had vaccination clinics going on pretty much ongoing, but this is now we have another one coming. It's both flu and COVID-19 vaccination clinic, November 15th at Coyote Hills Elementary. I think there's already a lot of staff and families that have expressed interest. This is open to the public, so anybody can come to this, and really want to encourage everybody to get vaccinated this year. And then I've mentioned this before, but a little update on our More Than a Meal campaign. So this is the campaign to try to get all of our families to submit the applications for the More Than a Meal program. This allows for the district to receive potentially significant amounts of additional funding, including upwards to a couple $100,000 a year. But what we really need is that everybody submits the application in order for us to reach our target. It's also can be a real benefit to families and students in other ways, including possibly benefits around fees for rec department, for different tests for college, etc. You can see all of the different possible things up there on the flyer. So the state has extended the deadline to November 18th. We have received, I believe it's around 1,700 applications, but we have about 3,000. Is that right, Ms. Delacruz? Oh, we've received 3,000, and we need about 1,700 more to hit our target. Thank you. So we really want to encourage everyone to submit the application, even if they think that for some reason it doesn't apply to them. This is for much more than a meal in terms of funding for our schools. And lastly, about the More Than a Meal campaign. So we will be sending out additional mailers next week, I believe. Is that right, Ms. Delacruz?
They went out the letters went out today, I believe, and then we will be following up with phone calls next week.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, and that is for this evening, the report.
Thank you, Dr. Triplett. On to item 14, staff report. Item 14.1, parent engagement. Dr. Triplett.
Thank you very much. So really excited. Like I said earlier, a theme this evening is all of the supports and engagements with our families. And we have a wonderful couple of folks here tonight, part of the parent partner team that is going to share about some of the engagements and workshops and opportunities we provide for our families. But first, Ms. Pierce, are you going to do a little introduction?
Yeah, if you don't mind. This came as a question from Member Zhang, so we are following up with parent workshops. We have the lovely Ashley Acosta coming up, and I believe you are going to introduce your parent partners who are here with you as well.
Good evening, and thank you. I'd like to start off by saying good evening, board, executive cabinet, our community members, families, students, and staff. It's a pleasure to be able to be here with you this evening and share some of the wonderful things that parent partners have been doing and being very busy the last couple of months. I'd like to start off by introducing my wonderful team. So we have Diana Paredes here, if you'd like to stand. She's been a parent partner with Newark for a little bit over 5 years and has been able to support our families and students by connecting them to resources within our community. Unfortunately, our other parent partner, Maria Perez, was here with us earlier, but she had to step out to pick up her child. But she also has been with us for 5 years, supporting in the parent partner role of connecting our families to resources within the community. During the pandemic, we had a response to one of the biggest needs in our community, and that was access to healthy, nutritious food. So we started a wonderful food drive with our partner of Tri-City Volunteers, and we have twice a month on every first and third Wednesday at Schilling Elementary School. From about 11 a.m. to 12, we hand out 150 boxes of food. Remember, our parent partner team is small, but we're mighty, and we get to interact with our community and provide them with nutritious meals and give them access to some of our community partners. For example, Bay Area Community Health comes out in tables for families to get resources and information about CalFresh, Medi-Cal, CalWorks, and also their mobile clinics that we have on site. As you can see here, another big community partner, like I mentioned, is Bay Area Community Health. They deploy 2 units on a weekly basis to Schilling Elementary School to provide all of our students and community members access to immunizations, physicals, wellness checks, and even vaccinations that are needed for students to be able to enroll in school with here at Newark Unified School District. As you see here, there's a list of all of our community partners, and there are many more that aren't mentioned here, but that we partner with on a daily basis. So when we're working with families and they may have a need or may need some support, we're able to rely and partner with our community partners to be able to serve them and meet families where they're at. Just to highlight a few that are on here, we have Fremont Family Resource Center, which is located in Fremont, but provides a lot of services to our family in the Tri-City areas. We have Bay Area Legal Aid that provides all our families that need any legal assistance. If it's coming from immigration, tax services, or whatever that may be, we're able to refer them out for services. We have EBAC, which is East Bay Agency for Children. We partner with them on all of our campuses here in Newark to provide mental health services to our students and counseling to our families that have Medi-Cal. But they also provide community partner workshops and opportunities for families to participate in grief counseling services or grief circles that are available in the community. NUSD Adult and Career Education, which is located here at our Bridgepoint campus, is able to provide us with a wide variety of classes for our community to be able to access. For example, English as a second language, our ESL classes are on Tuesdays and Thursday mornings. We have our high school diploma program for our families that want to return and obtain their high school diploma, or for students that weren't able to finish it at the high school, able to finish it there with us. We offer afternoon and evening classes to be able to work around family schedules and other commitments that they may have. We also offer our GED program, which is afternoon classes and is offered for our students and families that may not want to take the high school track, but still want to be able to obtain that GED diploma. One of the big questions and why we're here presenting this evening is we're looking at parent workshops. Yesterday, we had our first in-parent workshop for NUSD at Bridgepoint with our partner agency of Terosio Vasquez and Lourdes Ochoa. And she was able to really work with families on coping with stress and some strategies that they can use when you're working with your families or working with your students at home. We have our Fathers Cafe that will be coming back for the second year starting in January, where fathers will have the opportunity to meet and collaborate with other parents in our community to be able to obtain resources and support their kids at home. We're going to be having CABE, which is our California Association for Bilingual Education Project to Inspire. So as we stated in the LCAP, we were going to be providing some parent workshops. This is one of the parent workshops that we will be providing. So as we're processing that, it's a 12-week session. It's 12 sessions, so 12 weeks. And it's in person for 2 hours. So they're going to meet here in our board library, or actually our board training room in the evenings. And I believe it's going to be Wednesday evenings starting in January. We also have our Parent-Teacher Association School Smarts. So we've partnered with them for 10 sessions in person for 1.5 hours for families to really receive the tools that they need in their toolbox to be able to access their child's education. For example, giving them tools to be able to effectively communicate with their teacher. How do they get in contact with their child's teacher? Who do they contact? Who do they contact in the main office if they'd like to schedule an appointment with the principal or maybe even their student's teacher? How do they check their students' grades online, their attendance? All those important things they're going to be learning with our School Smarts program. We also have, for the second year, we'll be offering PK, our Parent Institute for Quality Education. So last May, we graduated 28 families from the PK program, so we're going to be offering it again this year. And that's really another opportunity that will be held in English for our families to be able to navigate the educational system a little bit better. Now, as a district and of my small, mighty team that we have, we can't hold everything. So we rely a lot on our community partners to be able to provide support for our families for Many other workshops. So we have been referring families out for the 6-week positive parenting classes for dads through the Fatherhood Initiative with Alameda County and First Five. We've also referred families to one-day sessions just so that they can be able to access the resources and services that they need to better support their household. Another example we have on here is the Navigating Family Court for fathers. So when we have fathers that come with us with questions, we will refer them to these wonderful workshops. SELPA, our special education department, also offers a wide variety of parent workshops for our families to be able to attend. Mission Valley SELPA focuses on special education. On September 12th, they had their IEP 101 workshop, and they said also getting the right support, understanding the differences between modifications and accommodations will be on November 14th. In January, they'll be focusing on transitions. In March 20th, they'll be looking at eligibility, goals, and services. And then on April 17th, we're going to be looking at the ACC and evidence-based practices to support students with learning disabilities. So any family that has a student with an IEP is able to access our SELPA workshops and be able to obtain more information on how they can better support their student. When we're looking at other opportunities for Newark Unified School District families, we have some wonderful leadership opportunities. For example, we have our LCAP, our Parent Advisory Committee, and PAC. We have our school site council, so parents are able to participate and have a voice at the site level. We have our English Language Advisory Committee, so our ELACs that are site-based. We have our DLACs that is district-based. We have our Community Advisory Committee for SELPA. We have our parent-teacher organizations or associations. We have parent-teacher-student associations at the junior high and the high school. We have parent-teacher clubs at every elementary site. Schilling has parents and Schilling staff. The high school, Newark Memorial High School has Athletic Boosters Club. They have Padres Unidos Hispanos, so the PUH. And we have Newark Memorial High School Music Boosters and much more. These are all opportunities where families can get involved in a leadership role to make an impact on their community. So more opportunities for parents to get involved. As Dr. Triplett shared earlier, parent conferences is coming up. And parent conferences is a great opportunity for students, for parents to be able to interact with their students' teachers and get an update about how things are going and how they can continue to support their child at home. So as we continue that partnership, they're going to be coming up from November 10th through 17th. Many sites offer coffee with the principal once a month. It's usually the first Wednesday or Friday for most elementary school sites. And we also have coffee with the director of special education. Some of our special events that we've had for parent engagement, we're looking at holiday celebrations. As we know, we just had a big event around Dia de los Muertos, and a lot of sites had trunk or treats or fall carnivals. So we'll be continuing that into the holiday season. We have our performing art shows, and many sites are hosting science nights. So many people may be asking the question of, how do we recruit families for these wonderful opportunities of workshops that we're providing within the community? We are active partners with what we call the Coordination of Services team, which is our COST. Each site here in Newark Unified has a COST team that meets regularly. So if it's a secondary site, they meet weekly. If it's an elementary site, they meet bi-weekly or once a month to be able to service all students' needs and supports. During the COST process, parent partners receive referrals of families that they may be requesting more information about parent workshops or opportunities that they can participate in, so that we're able to individually reach out and recruit families for these wonderful opportunities. Another way, we also share our flyers via school-based platforms, for example. So we have at Coyote Hills, we have Blooms, other sites have Class Dojo, we have another communication platform, I can't think of what BGP uses. But that we share out for families to be able to receive these information and participate in these wonderful events. So with that, that's a conclusion of my presentation. As you can see here in the wonderful diagram in front of you, it takes a community, and a community consists of families and caregivers, schools, the classroom, and all of us together to be able to successfully support each and every one of our students. So thank you. Now I will open it up if the board has any questions or comments I'd like to address.
Thank you, Ms. Acosta. Student Board Member Torres, do you have any comments or questions? No, none at this time. Member Hill?
Thank you, Ms. Alcasta, and yeah, it's amazing all the resources that you've pulled together, so thank you.
Member Grindel?
Yes, Ms. Acosta, thank you so much for this very informative presentation. It is just a network of programs that are out there, and it's fantastic that you've figured out a way for our district to be a hub of those services and working with those. So just appreciate the work you're doing, and thank you for the excellent presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Alcosta, and thank you to your team members for all the hard work that you guys do. I know last year you guys gave us a presentation towards the end of the year and how much you've increased your resources over the years, and also how many referrals have increased since the start of the program several years back. And so with that, I was just wondering, how many referrals have you gotten so far since the beginning of the school year?
That's a great question. So I just submitted our county report, and all of our sites, including secondary, were a little bit over 300 cost referrals.
Oh, wow.
And I will come back and share in the spring that wonderful data where we can look at your over the years data worth of cost referrals and risk assessments as well.
Great. Thank you so much. We really do appreciate all that information. Thank you. And thank you for the hard work that you guys all do. Bye.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too. On to item 14.2, introduction to induction.
Thank you.
Dr. Triplett.
Thank you, President Nguyen. And thank you again to Parent Partners and Ms. Acosta for that really amazing presentation and all the work that goes into supporting our families. This next item is really about our how we support our new teachers and through the induction program. And so we have two fantastic folks here, Ms. Leonora Rebasora and Manju Goyal, who are going to present on the program and talk a little bit about how it's structured. But I think first, Ms. Pierce wants to say something.
Just something short, I promise. I want the last presentation was really about how we provide our community support, and this is also about how we do that within our community, right? And I'm hoping that you see this sort of theme here, that when we think about education, we really are thinking about the whole family, the whole community, and the whole child. So with that being said, Leonore, take it away.
Thank you. Good evening, President Nguyen, Superintendent Triplett, board members, executive cabinet, and the greater Newark community out there. With me tonight is Manju Goyal. She is one of the two lead mentors of this program, and she's also an elementary science resource teacher. Tonight, our staff report will define the goals of teacher induction, describe how the design of this program provides individualized support to candidates' professional growth goals, and explain the roles and responsibilities of mentors and administrators. I designed the Newark Teacher Induction Program to address the Commission on Teacher Credentialing induction program and common standards. It was accredited in 2019. This mentor-based, job-embedded program is completed in 2 years. Successful completion earns a candidate a recommendation for a clear credential. This chart details the experience of a new hire to Newark Unified. Included in the human resources packet of prospective new hires is a credential information form. Upon successful completion of the hiring process, this is forwarded to the teacher induction office, and upon verification of eligibility, a mentor is selected within 30 days. The candidate then attends a new hire orientation hosted by the Human Resources Department, an individual intake with induction program leadership, and an orientation to induction session.
And one of the first activities in induction is self-assessment by the teachers based on the California standards for teaching profession. And this self-assessment serves as a basis for identifying professional goals for the whole school year. So when the candidates set up their professional growth goals, they not only look at the California Standards for Teaching Profession, which is CSTP, they also look at evaluation goals, district priorities, new work, graduate profile, what are the school site priorities and goals, and of course the community values. And based on this professional growth goal, a one-ring statement is crafted. The one-ring statement is the focus of the ILP, which is the individual learning plan. The individual learning plan is the main activity in teacher induction. It is an action research on an area of candidates' teaching that they would like to work on, they would like to learn more about, improve, or further develop. Candidate works on their ILP from September to the time it is reviewed in April. So it's a long process. But this whole process is not used for evaluation purposes. It's only for the growth of the candidates. There are 5 requirements for each teacher to complete this whole induction program successfully. The first one is they have to engage in the ILP process, submit their formal review by April 28th, and then reviewers review it, and then if it's met by June. The second requirement is they have to meet with the mentor for 1 hour each week, 60 minutes each week. Complete the program effectiveness survey and candidate feedback so that we keep on improving our program. That happens 4 surveys throughout the year. And the next requirement is meet with the induction team for intake at the beginning of the school year and then mid-year. And the last one is the celebration, attending colloquium in May with the mentor and the principal.
And in that, we'd actually want to let you know that we're also inviting all of you to the colloquium on May 10th. So please put it on your calendar because it is a celebration. We hope to be in person finally after 2 years. So the mentor roles and responsibilities is explicitly defined in the induction program standards. A mentor is selected within 30 days of determining a candidate's eligibility. Mentors are selected based on affinity, same grade, same school, same subject. If this is not possible, program leadership considers a mentor's experience and ability to guide and support the candidate. We work very closely with the school site administrators to make that determination as well. So all mentors must submit an application which includes a profile and 2 letters of recommendation. Their mentoring skills is developed through differentiated activities. On their first year, they must attend New Mentor Foundations. It's a 3-day workshop that we've modified through the years depending on if we were in person or virtual. And it's based on the work of Bruce Wellman and Laura Lipton, Mentoring Matters. In years 2 to 5, they attend 3 mentor workshops per year. And in this year, we're piloting a book club for mentors who've been with us and who've been active for more than 6 years.
And with the introduction of the 2016 induction program standards, now the school admins also have an important role in this process. So there are triad meetings, means the candidate, mentor, and the principals, they meet 3 times a year because we are supporting the same teacher. So during these triad meetings, the purpose is to support through the development and progress of their individual learning plan. But again, these meetings are non-human resource events, and the information gained is only not considered for evaluation. It is only to support the teachers. And this program has actually evolved over time. Long time ago when I was part of the Hayward Unified School District, and I did work with Leonore because she was supporting other districts too, and that time the program was called BITSA, which is Beginning Teacher Support and Assessment. And then it was called BITSA Induction, and now it's called Teacher Induction Program. But throughout this whole process, the purpose is just to support the teachers, finding different ways to support and support the teachers. So this data chart shows how many teachers are right now in this induction program. But I want to highlight the first column where you will see that how many teachers were part of this induction program and now they are supporting other teachers as mentors, so which is wonderful. So it's just kind of like it comes full circle. So they were part of the induction program, and now they are supporting other teachers.
In addition, we have one special ed candidate, graduate, one of the first graduates, who now is the special ed director. So that was one of our first graduates, and we're really proud of that. So Olivia Rangel was one of our first, one of the graduates of the special ed program, one of the first graduates of the special ed program of this program. So with that, at this time, we just want to let you know that we are preparing for the submission of step 1 of the individual learning plan, which is actually due tomorrow. This includes reflections of the intake meeting, the self-assessment, a classroom observation by the mentor, and reflections from the triad meeting. It has been a good start for the 24 candidates and 18 mentors in the program. We're looking forward to reconvening an advisory council in December and meeting up with our teachers again in January. More information is in the teacher induction page of the Newark Unified, and thank you for giving us a chance to tell you about our work. Good evening.
Thank you so much. Any comments or questions by our student board member?
Well, as you guys know, I'm new to this, whole school board thing, and learning about the induction program, it sounds really, unique and cool, and I was reading your information, and I was like, wow, this is such a great program to support these teachers, and I feel like it is what we need at this district, so I'm glad that it's there, and it's a resource for these new teachers, so thank you. And wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you, student board member Torres. Member Hill?
Ms. Rebasura, Ms. Goyal, thank you for the presentation. Just a couple of questions so I make sure I understand. So the process is 2 years, correct? And then you talked about ILPs. So are those happening, are you having a new ILP each semester over the course of the 2 years? Or is it once a year, or is it one for 2 years? How does that work?
Generally, it's one ILP per year.
Okay.
Because the focus of the teachers usually change. Like when they're on their first year, will probably be different from the second year. But they also have the option to do 2 action researches within a year. So within that ILP, there's space for them to actually engage in 2 action researches if they choose to.
Okay.
But there's only 1 document for the year.
Per year?
Yeah.
Okay. And then the mentors, so are these existing teachers, current teachers that are then spending a portion of their time acting in a mentor capacity? Or are they actually teachers that are pulled out and serve as a mentor for a certain period of time, like full-time, and then they have a whole
No,
caseload?
they're all full-time classroom teachers, and they receive a stipend for doing the work. We do have a few retired teachers who support us. Now I think we have 2 retired teachers who also support.
Okay, great. And then all the mentors are coming from our district?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
We do
And they
not
just,
hire.
and they just out of curiosity, what's the stipend?
1,600.
1,600. Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Member Hill. Member Grandel?
I just wanted to thank you for the very informative and interesting presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ribasora and Ms. Goyal, for the presentation. And I just have one quick question. In regards to the mentors, have there been years where you guys have been short on mentors, and how, if you, and if you are in that position, how do you go about filling the mentorship
That's
positions?
actually a very interesting question, because we almost did this year. We tried to get creative. Sometimes mentors want to support, but they don't have full capacity. So with this year, we've actually tried to, we had a PE teacher, couldn't find a PE mentor who could do all the work, like the ILP process and going to the workshops and all the training. So we paired them up with someone who could go through the ILP process, and then the other mentor would be the content mentor. So then we were able to provide him with the content support and the process support. So luckily in the 13 years, we haven't had to say, no, we can't support you because we don't have a mentor.
Okay.
We really work with the principals, with the other mentors, the lead mentors, and the candidates themselves. And we've been fortunate that we haven't had to turn anybody away because we didn't have a mentor.
Great. That's really wonderful to hear. And I do like the fact that you do find additional resources and that other teachers are willing to step up to help with the content versus and not having to do the actual filling out of the ILPs. Uh, okay. And then my last question is, are there, it's a 1-to-1 ratio, correct? One.
No, we have, if we've had a mentor support up to 3, but that was a retired teacher. Generally, it's no more than 2. And on a first and second year of a mentor, they cannot support more than 1.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Member Hill?
Thank you. Sorry, just one last question. And the teachers don't have to pay for this, right?
No.
Okay.
No.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, and thank you for the
And
wonderful presentation.
they get, if they want to observe, we also support them and provide them with guest teachers so they can observe other teachers, because that's very important.
Thank you
Thank
for the
you for
wonderful
all your
work.
questions.
Okay, on to item 14.3, district goals and objectives, 2022-23 measurable outcomes. Dr. Triplett.
Thank you, President Nguyen, and thank you to Ms. Rebasura and Ms. Goyal for the fantastic work that you all are doing with supporting our new teachers. Ms. Gutierrez, thank you. So as the board knows, we have been in this process of identifying and solidifying goals and objectives for this year. And at the last board meeting, the board approved the goals and objectives after a number of study session, as well as a number of input sessions. I did want to also just articulate that the goals and objectives and where they came from was really a process that started all the way back last year through the LCAP process and engagement with PAC. That is some of the places that we really worked through what were the priorities for this upcoming school year, and so that was part of the process to identify the goals and objectives. So now we're coming back tonight just for a staff report, a chance for me to present our draft of measurable outcomes that align to the district goals and objectives. And so, Ms. Gutierrez, actually, we can go we'll try to go pretty quick through here. So as you recall, we have 4 goal areas: instructional excellence for equity, fiscal vitality, community engagement, communication, and exceptional learning facilities. And then within those goal areas, the board approved goals and objectives. And Ms. Gutierrez, if you could skim over the slides up to goal 14. So these are the goals that the board has been discussing and ultimately approved last board meeting. And so what we're doing tonight, again, want to review some draft measurable outcomes aligned to each one of these goal areas. There we do have a lot of goals, and within some of the objectives, there are a number of different components. So I'm going to try to go as quickly as possible, and then would really love for board input on these measurable outcomes. What we're trying to do is create outcomes that are SMART, so specific, measurable, achievable, and now I'm blanking on the time-based, thank you, as well as equitable. Next slide, please. So within this first objective, the STEAM, we have, if you recall, we have 4 different areas: the STAR Academy, environmental literacy, art, music programming, and math progressions. So all of these were part of our STEAM objective. And so you see the bulleted blue letters for each of these different areas. So within the STAR, Science, Technology, Aerospace, and Robotics Initiative, the 3 measurable outcomes that we've articulated, that we have by June, that the following things are complete. Number 1, that we have the STAR Lab renovations complete, and the lab being utilized for events, classes, and clubs on a weekly basis. 2, that the makerspace at every elementary school is utilized by each grade at least 2 times during the year. And 3, that we graduate our first cohort at Memorial with a Master of Code certification. Within environmental literacy, the 3 measurable outcomes for the end of the year: 1, that we have a 5th grade science camp held at every elementary school. We saw the one at Coyote Hills earlier. 2, that we have at least 1 environmental literacy field trip conducted at every school. And then 3, that we are finalizing the NUSD green print that the board saw last year, and we're presenting that, the final green print to the board by the end of this year. Under art, music, and the art music programming, this is an area that we really are working to revitalize and grow. And so the 2 outcomes for this year would be implement a music program at 2 pilot elementary schools. You probably know that in the past there has been only, in elementary, there's been an elementary district-wide music program, but not music programs specifically at individual schools, and so we want to pilot that. And then 2, increase the 2023-24 student class requests for high school music. So this is a big thing over the course of a lot of turnover and a lot of challenges with the music department in years past, that there's been a decline in student interest in the high school music program. And so with the hiring of our new music teacher, Mr. Juan Castañeda, who's been doing amazing things this year to reinvigorate the music program, and you saw some video of him earlier. So our goal is to through the work this year, to have more class requests for music for this upcoming school year. And then lastly, under math progressions, as we know, this is an area that we really want to continue to grow. And the 2 measurable outcomes: number 1, complete our first year implementation of the Academic Flex program in the 6th grade. That's our math intervention program that we're starting this year. And then 2, complete the first year implementation of our new blended courses in high school. You will recall that the board approved that new math progressions last year. And then lastly, that we take the time to develop a collaborative 2-year plan for secondary math instruction. And that would be done in collaboration with our math teachers, math departments, as well as district math support. So those are, this is probably the most of our measurable outcomes on one slide, but I'll try to go a little bit quicker over the next ones. Ms. Gutierrez, could you go to the next? So within the area of social emotional learning, 2 measurable outcomes we're articulating is: 1, that we provide quarterly professional development sessions throughout the year focused on implementation of SEL curriculum. We've already had, I believe, 2 sessions so far, and so that's progressing well. And then likewise, provide weekly coaching through observation and feedback for teachers as they implement the SEL curriculum. And the next slide. Within the area of English language learners, this goal area, so we had 3 different areas here: the SEAL program that we continue to want to grow, the dual language immersion program, and then ELD instruction, and in particular designated and integrated ELD. So within SEAL, this year our goal is, our measurable outcome for the end of the year is to conclude 14 SEAL training modules for our SEAL cohort and 21 unit design sessions. So what that is the SEAL teachers having the opportunity to, number 1, get training, and then number 2, collaborate with each other to design lessons and then implement those lessons. Within dual language immersion, the measurable outcome is to conduct up to 4 family learning exchanges. That's opportunities for families to meet and engage in a learning exchange around the program, what they really like and what they want to see change, and then to prepare for the 3rd grade implementation that will be happening next year. So that'll include preparing staffing, resources, and materials. And then under ELD, English Language Development Instruction, to refine our model for integrated and designated ELD in our EL Master Plan in order to maximize the access we provide for English language learners. Within our goal of recruiting, developing, and retaining highly qualified educators, we have 2 measurable outcomes. 1, the contract, by the end of the year, that contract negotiations have concluded with our labor partners, that the The contracts are certified by the county so that they're deemed to be financially feasible and then approved by the board. And then likewise, that we end the year with a multi-year balanced budget presented to the board. Within professional growth, so the goal is, this is a broad one, that is that in 2022-23 professional development plan for classified, certificated, and management is both developed and implemented. So this is, as I'm sure you know, professional development is complex, and so I'd be happy to present the current plan and then provide updates throughout the rest of the year around how it's being implemented, but it's more that than can be provided on this one slide. Within the area of physical vitality, we have the goal, we have two goals, I believe. One is to maximize resources while ensuring a positive certification. And so measurable outcomes being one, that our one-time fund expenditures for the 22-23 will be complete. In other words, we will have spended down all of our one-time dollars allocated for this year. And that two, that we will present a plan to the board for the use of our multi-year one-time funds. And then within community engagement and communication, the goal of the marketing campaign, which we have discussed, and I know the board remembers that within the RFP, that there is articulation of the different campaigns that we plan to conduct in partnership with our marketing consultant. So the measurable outcome for the end of the year is to conclude both the enrollment campaign as well as a robust staff recruitment campaign. And then the second objective within community engagement is around community engagement sessions. And so the end of year measurable outcome is to conduct 8 community engagements by June 30th, focused on the goals and priority areas for the district. And those areas could include English language learning, safety, facilities, student engagement, as well as other topics. And then lastly, within the final goal area, I think we have two objectives. This first one is to hire a consultant through the RFP process. And so the end of year measurable outcome, number one, will be that the RFP process is conducted and that the consultant is hired. And then secondly, that a preliminary plan of options for use of surplus properties is presented to the board by the end of the year. And lastly, under capital projects, the measurable outcome for the year, one, that we conducted community-based engagements held at the comprehensive middle and high schools. This is something we've already started, focused on capital improvements, and that two, that we are able to present to the board priority capital improvements for the board to decide whether or not to approve. All right, whew, that was a lot. And sorry for the amount of content there, but this is opportunity. Would love to hear from board members, just any input, so that then we can take these back and continue to revise and refine these measurable outcomes to return to the board at the next meeting.
Thank you, Dr. Triplett. Any comments or questions from our student board member?
With these goals, I was wondering if the board would be updated maybe like every once a month about how it's going, because I know that these are important goals, and so I would like to know like every once in a while how they're going and to see what measurable outcomes are actually being produced.
Yeah, thank you, Member Torres. Yeah, that would definitely be the plan. Probably not all of them every time, but map them out so that, calendar them out so that we can provide updates on each one of them over the course of time.
Okay, thank you. And also, I know we've been hearing a lot from the NTA members about the salary increase, and I know that's one of the goals. So I was wondering like if that was going to be prioritized, since I feel like I've been hearing it a lot over and over again.
Yes, thank you. It is one of our top priorities. That's why we wanted to articulate it as a goal.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Student Board Member Torres. Any comments? Member Hill?
Yes, thank you. As I'd mentioned in prior meetings, I see a lot of actions that are listed in these goals, but I don't really see outcomes. So if we look at the first one, or the first area, instructional excellence for equity, so the subtitle says build and maintain a focus on college and career readiness grades TK through 12. So, really I think what we're looking for here is we're looking for outcomes that are manifested in the students primarily, but then also by extension the teachers and support staff. And so in goal one, objective one, I see a lot of actions where we're doing things, but I don't see how that's manifesting itself in improvement in student outcomes. So that's my comment there. And then same with staff development. Again, just because we do professional development, that doesn't mean that I don't know what that outcome is going to be, and I think that we need to get pretty granular to say, okay, here's where our staff is in terms of key measures, here's where our teachers are in terms of key measures, and here's where we want them to be. And here's the things that we're gonna specifically do, and then here's the goals that we're shooting for in terms of measurable improvement. So just holding PD sessions, I don't think is really meaningful. In terms of English learners, this has again been a frustration that's gone back 2 years from when we first implemented the dual language immersion program, and I was asking for a plan, and I was asking for measurable milestones, and I was told, well, it's coming, we can't measure it initially. Well, here we're 2 years in, and we still don't really have any measurements to say, okay, what are we expecting to see students do or to be able to achieve from being in this program? Let's see here. And again, when we talk about competitive salaries, it's vague. Contract negotiation, just because we conclude it doesn't mean it was viewed as successful. If we go into, again, more professional development, so very vague. If we go into the marketing plan, again, I'm really disappointed with this, where if we say that our goal is that we're trying to have, not only engagement, but theoretically we're saying that we want to recruit and retain staff. Well, so where are we right now? And then what recruitment objectives do we want to achieve? How many people do we want to recruit? If we have a certain issue with retention, and a certain, turnover, what's the current amount, and then what do we want to see change through these marketing campaigns? But we don't see that here. Yeah, and again, that's really sort of the basic comments, is that I'm seeing actions, but I'm not seeing really outcomes, meaningful outcomes that are going to help our district grow and become great. So those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Hill. Member Grindel?
The planned development for for excess properties. So, sorry, I'm not on the right page, but excess properties. It indicates that that options will be presented to the board. I guess I just want to understand a little better, or maybe you can clarify in future drafts whether or not that really includes sort of direction that the board is giving, or is it just a presentation of, gosh, we could do all of these things? Is that measurable outcome to have a plan that the board actually sets direction? Does my comment make sense? Thank you.
Yes.
Nothing else.
Thank you, Member Grindel. So in terms of some of the measurables, I am in agreement with Member Hill on the GLI. I would like to see, I guess, basically we know that our students are moving forward in going into the next level of the next grade, and we're expanding the program. But we want to also know how well they're doing, and and if in turn really the program has been successful, not just because we're continuing to expand the program, but are the kids really truly benefiting from the program itself? And then let's see. In terms of, I know that the first one, instructional excellence for equity, build and maintain a focus on college and career readiness, TK to 12 for the STEM end of year measurables to the end of the year. I do think that those are pretty measurable. And I mean, maybe for the first, when the graduate of the first cohort, I mean, like, can you list how many students you think are going to be graduating with a certificate of code, or how many students you would like to complete that course? But in terms of like the makerspace for every school utilized by each grade at least 2 times a year, I would figure that they would be, you know, using that space more frequently, more than 2 times a year. Though I was hopeful for that. During their science class, I guess, a curriculum, that they have more opportunities to be able to use that space. But yeah, I think there are measurable goals there in terms of environmental literacy and the arts and music program that you guys do want to pilot the 2 elementary schools, which I think is great. Do we know the 2 elementary schools?
Not at this time, no.
And then also, my daughter is in one of the high school blended math courses, so I will definitely have a good gauge in knowing how she will be doing by the end of this year. So for me, I would be interested in also knowing how well or how many students are in the blended courses, and then what their outcomes are for this year, just to get a good gauge. But those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the input. So we'll take this back and continue to modify and revise, and then bring it back to the board next time.
Thank you. Okay, on to new business. Ratify collective bargaining agreement with California School Employee Association. Ms. Ingham Waters, or Ms. Dr. Triplett?
You know what's going over there, huh? I would like to say before Ms. Ingham Waters presents, we're just really delighted to have reached an agreement with with our CSEA partners. They're so vital to our organization, and it was really productive, challenging, but productive conversations and bargaining, and we're just so pleased to be able to present and come to an agreement on a salary increase that is the highest increase that I believe CSEA has seen in over 2 decades. Ms. Ingham Waters, did you want to add anything?
Okay, with that, may I get a motion to ratify item 15.1? Don't be shy.
Can I make a comment first?
Oh, yes.
Just want to echo the superintendent's comments. It's wonderful that we're able to reach agreement on this, on our very important staff with the CSEA. The negotiations and discussions obviously went productively, and were open, and very, very excited to be able to bring forward a pay increase that values these employees that are critical to the education of our children, and looking forward to a similar win-win situation with NTA coming forward. We want to pay for our educators. We want to pay them properly so that they're rewarded for their efforts, and that and that they're retained in our district. So excited to be able to look at a similar program in the future for NTA. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Grandal. Any comments, Member Hill? No. Student Board Member, no? Thank you. I also echo the same sentiments as Member Grandal.
That was a motion, by the way.
And, oh, you did?
I didn't, but I meant it to be. That's
Okay.
a motion to.
So motion made to ratify by Member Grandal. May I get a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Student Board Member Torres, for the second. Please vote. Student Board Member, how do you vote?
Yes.
Thank you.
Three yeas.
Thank you, Ms. Gutierrez. Okay, on to item 16.1. We don't have any pulled consent agenda items tonight, so we're moving on to 17.1, Board, Committee, and Assignments. So this is just a discussion. Since we recently, Member Marquez has resigned, so we wanted to make sure that we looked at the Board Committee assignments and note that there are going to be some changes. Dr. Triplett?
Yes, thank you, President Nguyen, and feel free to jump in, Ms. Gutierrez. So we're bringing this forward just because there has been the vacancy on the board that's resulted in possibly some of the current alternates now moving into a committee position. And so we just wanted to bring it forth to the board just to highlight that and just make sure that everyone is aware of their responsibilities. Did you want to add anything, Ms. Gutierrez?
No, that's correct. I just want to point out the two changes are in the Teacher Induction Advisory Council Committee and the Audit Committee. And both have the alternate as the Teacher Induction is Member Hill, and the Audit Committee has Member Grindal.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Gutierrez. So for the rest of the year, if there are any Teacher Induction Advisory Council meetings, Member Hill will be attending. And if there are any Audit Committee meetings scheduled, Member Grindal will be replacing Ms. Marquez.
Correct. And just to clarify, once the new board members come on board, then the board will revisit all of the committees and make decisions about committee membership. I think it was mentioned by Mr. Rebasura, but the teacher induction program, because of COVID, they have not met, but I think that she is intending to hold a meeting soon and will be in contact with Member Hill.
Thank you. Thank you for the update. Are there any questions, comments from board members? Thank you. Okay, on to item 18.1, Board of Education recognition and announcements. Student Board Member Torres.
I would like to recognize the amazing counselors at the high school who have been helping us a lot with the grueling application process. For colleges, it is not a fun process. It is very long and awful. Too many essays to write, but they have been there to help and support in all the ways that you can imagine. And they have been such great help. So I would like to recognize them.
Thank you, Student Board Member Torres. Member Hill?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, so I just want to, echoing from the prior agenda item, just want to recognize the CSEA membership and congratulate them on the agreement, and also recognize, NTAs, they're going through the same process, and hopefully we'll be reaching agreement with them shortly as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Hill. Member Grindal?
Just want to compliment all of our staff and the hard work they're doing in these difficult times to overcome the learning loss that we experienced, and just excited to see the programs that are going forward, and just want to compliment all the staff and the executive cabinet for all the hard work you're doing.
Thank you so much, Member Grindal. I also want to echo the same sentiments as our student board member for our counselors at the high school. Thank you so much for all the hard work that you all do in preparing and then also assisting our students as they go through this, our seniors that go through this process of applying for colleges. It is daunting and a lot of work, and a lot of times I think some of our students are and their families are first time generation going to college, and for them to be able to navigate this on their own can be difficult. And so we really appreciate all the help and effort that you provide them and their family, and making it possible for them to achieve their goals to go to college. So thank you so much for that. And then thank you to all of our working teachers and our staff, our executive team at the district for everything that you guys do. You know, this is our second year back in person, and it still has been difficult and still new challenges. And obviously we've also had turnover in staff. And so it was great to hear about the induction program tonight and how new teachers are being mentored through our district. So that's wonderful. And then lastly, just wanted to congratulate CSEA on their collective bargaining agreement and their raises, well deserved. So thank you for all your hard work and contribution to the district. That's it. On to 18.2, Board of Education Committee reports. Are there any reports from ROP?
The November meeting was canceled, so the December meeting is going to be packed with important business items, and the alternate may need to step into that meeting. So that just wanted to make the board be aware of that. That
Okay.
Bowen may need to attend that meeting.
On which date again?
That's December 8th.
Okay. And then for SELPA, member Zhang's not here, so there's no update. And then for EBIC, also member Marquez is not here, and there hasn't been a meeting, so no updates there. And the audit committee, member Hill?
No updates.
And for the bond parcel committee, member Grindel?
No updates.
And there is no update on the liaison committee as well, since our last meeting got canceled. And on to 18.3, Board of Education requests. Student board member, do you have any requests at this time?
That everyone just stay warm. It is freezing cold outside.
Thank you. I think we all agree on that, for sure. Member Hill?
No requests.
Thank you. Member Grindel?
I'd like to second Member Torres's comments about the cold. So we do need more rain, but a warmer rain maybe. So, nothing further.
Great, thank you. So I do have one request. I just really wanted to appreciate Dr. Triplett and staff for bringing the HR assessment to the board meeting, or presented to the board meeting last time. And I hope that the superintendent will continue to assess other departments in the district. So my request is that the superintendent continue assessments, similar assessments like the HR assessment in other districts, with him having the ability to prioritize those identifying and prioritizing those departments. So hopefully I will get agreement on that.
I agree.
Member Hill?
I'd like to just modify that and say that, I think that the superintendent should bring forth, plan proposal for us to review, but obviously they can work out the details.
So mine is dead.
Oh, just for clarity then, Member Hill, without modifications, you're not agreeing to the request?
I'm saying if we were to include that modification, I would agree to the request.
So currently as is, you do not?
Correct.
Okay, And then I will bring back my request later. Thank you. With that, on to item 19.1. Superintendent concluding comments, updates, and future agenda items.
Thank you, President Nguyen. First, I want to just appreciate that we are about to end before 9 o'clock. This is fantastic. Want to appreciate our seniors, including Board Member Torres. This is a really stressful time, I know, for seniors applying to colleges. I know Member Torres is dealing with all of this, and at the same time continuing to fulfill all his responsibilities on the board, in classes, on the ASB. So really appreciate you, Board Member Torres, and also all the seniors. And then also just want to acknowledge the incredible challenges right now that our teachers face with in-house subbing. It is really, really difficult, and even with all of us trying to do whatever we can to support, it's still really, really challenging for them. So I just want to acknowledge that and appreciate them and recognize that it's really, really difficult. And that's it for tonight. Oh, sorry, I did have one more. I did want to make sure, I know Board Member Torres, last time you requested the Wi-Fi update, and we haven't forgotten, and we hope to have an update for this upcoming board meeting.
Thank you. Okay. Also, one last announcement. I just wanted to, really give I don't know what I'm saying. I just wanted to give a great shout out to all of our student athletes this winter quarter. They've done amazing cross country team. That includes our student board member, Torres, and also all of the teams, the girls cross country team, the volleyball team, our football team, both JV, varsity, and who else am I forgetting? Oh, yes, and water polo. They all did tremendous this season competing, and not only that, but not only did they did well competing in their sports, but also kept their grades up in the classroom. So I just wanted to really, give them a wonderful shout out for their hard work too and dedication to our schools. So with that said, meeting adjourned at 8:57. Oh wait, I have to get a motion to approve the adjournment. Nobody wants to leave?
If we just stall for 3 minutes, no, I'm just kidding. I will make a motion to adjourn.
Motion made by Member Grandel. May I get a second, please?
I'll second.
Seconded by Member Torres. How do you vote, Student Board Member Torres?
Yes.
Thank you. We're finishing early and I don't know what to do. Just kidding. Thank you. Okay, meeting adjourned. Meeting adjourned at 8:58 p.m. Thank you, everyone.